You want to know why I never talk about my past? Why I always change the subject when you ask me where I came from, what I did before I met you? Well, tonight, I'm going to tell you everything, and I mean everything. But first, I need to know, are you here with me? Are you really listening? Because once I start this story, there's no going back to the innocent version of me. You think you know the man you fell in love with doesn't really exist, sweetheart. He's a carefully constructed persona, a mask I've worn for so long I almost forgot what's underneath, but tonight the mask comes off and you get to see the real me, the dangerous me, the me that's done things that would make your blood run cold. If you're still here, if you're still listening, give me a sign. You know how to do ID. Wasn't always the calm, collected man you see before you 5 years ago. I was someone completely different. Someone whose name was whispered in fear in the darkest corners of the city. Someone who could make people disappear with a single phone call. Someone who held the lives of hundreds in the palm of his hand and crushed them without hesitation when they crossed me. Are you here with me, sweetheart? Are you still listening? Because this is where it gets interesting. This is where you learn why I can afford this penthouse, why I never seem to worry about money, why certain people in this city step aside when they see me coming, why restaurant owners refuse to let me pay for meals, why the police never seem to bother me, even when they probably should. I ran the largest underground operation on the East Coast for 3 years. 3 bloody, profitable years where I controlled everything that moved in the shadows, every drug deal, every weapons, to trade every dirty politician, every corrupt cop, every judge who could be bought. I had them all in my pocket, and they knew better than to bite the hand that fed them. But do you want to know the real hook? The thing that's going to keep you up at night, wondering how this story ends. The reason I walked away from all that power, all that money, all that control, it was because of a photograph, a single photograph that changed everything. And I still have it hidden in a safe behind that painting. You always admire the one you said reminds you of moonlight on water. You're still with me. If you haven't run screaming yet, leave me a sign the way you always do when you want me to know you're paying attention. You know exactly what I'm talking about. 3 years ago, I was untouchable, invisible, feared by my enemies, and worshipped by my followers. I had built an empire from nothing, using nothing but intelligence, ruthlessness, and a complete absence of conscience. I could have anyone killed with a snap of my fingers. I could have entire families erased from existence, and no one would ever find the bodies, because I knew people who specialized in making problems disappear permanently. The FBI had been trying to catch me for 2 years, but they couldn't even prove I existed. I was a ghost, a rumor, a shadow that moved through their investigations, always one step ahead, always anticipating their moves, because I had informants in places they never suspected. I owned judges who dismissed cases before they could gain momentum. I owned forensics experts who lost crucial evidence. I owned the very people who were supposed to be hunting me, but every empire has its weakness. Every has its downfall, and mine came in the form of something I never expected, something that should have been routine. Just another job, just another problem that needed to be solved permanently. Except this time, there was a complication. This time, there was you are. You here, baby? Are you following this twisted story? Are you starting to understand why I never talk about my work? Why I get that look in my eyes sometimes, like I'm seeing ghosts? Why I wake up some nights calling out names you've never heard before? If you're here, if you're listening, if you want to know how this ends, give me that sign. You know, I was hired to eliminate a threat, someone who had been asking too many questions, getting too close to the truth about my organization, someone who could bring everything crashing down if they weren't stopped. And I never hesitated to accept jobs like that, because hesitation in my line of work meant death, and I had no intention of dying anytime soon. But when I started researching my target, when I began following them, learning their routines, mapping out the perfect time and place to make my move, I discovered something that changed everything. I discovered that this person, this threat to everything I had built, wasn't some rival gang member or undercover federal agent or corrupt politician trying to muzzle in on my territory. They were just an ordinary person, an accountant, who had stumbled onto something they shouldn't have seen, who had noticed discrepancies in numbers that didn't add up, who had started asking innocent questions that would have innocent answers, except the answers weren't innocent at all. They were the key to unraveling years of carefully hidden crimes. And this ordinary person, this accountant, who was supposed to die for asking the wrong questions, they had a sister, a beautiful, innocent sister, who worked at a small bookstore downtown, who had no idea that her sibling was about to become a casualty in a war. They didn't even know existed a sister who would spend the rest of her life wondering why her family members suddenly vanished without a trace. That sister was you. If you're still here, if your heart is still beating, if you haven't fainted from shock, leave me that sign, because this is where the story gets really interesting. This is where you learn why that spotograph in my safe is so important, why I keep it as a reminder of the moment my entire world shifted, why everything I thought I knew about myself turned upside down in the span of a single heartbeat. I was supposed to kill your brother, and I was supposed to kill you too, because you might ask questions, you might go to the police, you might become another loose thread that could unravel everything. But when I saw you, when I watched you through the window of that bookstore, carefully arranging displays with such concentration, such care, such innocent joy, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, something I thought had died along with my conscience. For the first time in my adult life, I couldn't pull the trigger, I couldn't give the order, I couldn't do what needed to be done, because doing it would destroy something beautiful, something pure, something that made me remember what it felt like to be human instead of just a weapon disguised as a man. So instead, I did something unprecedented, something that my associates thought was a sign of weakness, something that could have gotten me killed. I called off the hit. I been a mistake, that the targets were no longer a threat, that the situation had been resolved through other means. And then I spent the next 6 months methodically destroying every piece of evidence that connected your brother to my organization. Are you here, sweetheart? Are you still with me? Because I need you to understand what I risked for you, what I gave up, what I sacrificed. I dismantled my entire operation, piece by piece, eliminated witnesses, silenced informants, destroyed files, burned bridges with allies who had trusted me for years, all because I couldn't bear the thought of a world where you didn't exist. I made sure your brother got transferred to a different department at work, somewhere far away from anything connected to my world. I arranged for certain files to go missing, for certain people to forget what they might have seen. I used every favor, every connection, every threat I had accumulated over the years to build a wall of protection around your family. And then I did the most dangerous thing of all. I inserted myself into your life. I started visiting your bookstore, pretending to be just another customer browsing the shelves, making small talk about literature, when really I was memorizing every detail of your face, every gesture, every word, learning how to make you smile, because your smile became the only thing that mattered to me in a world that had become meaningless. You want to know why I'm telling you this now? Why I'm confessing all of this when I could have taken these secrets to my grave? It's because I realized something tonight while watching you sleep so peacefully next to me, trusting me completely with your safety, your heart, your future. I realized that loving you while hiding who I really am is just another kind of lie, just another way of stealing your choices. The truth is, I left that world. For you, I walked away from more power and money than most people see in 10 lifetimes. I burned every bridge I had spent years building. I made myself a target for every enemy I had accumulated over the years, all because loving you made me want to be someone worthy of being loved back. But there's something else, something I haven't told you yet, something that makes this story even more complicated. If you're still here, if you haven't run away screaming, if you want to know the real ending, the twist that changes everything, then stay with me just a little longer, because what I'm about to tell you will explain why I can never let you go, why you'll never be truly safe without me, why our love story is written in blood and secret stuff. Night, I decided to spare your family the night. I chose love over loyalty. There was a witness, someone who saw me destroy evidence, someone who knows what I did, someone who has been waiting for the perfect moment to use that information against me, and that moment is coming soon. If you're here, if you understand what this means, if you're ready to hear how this story ends, leave me a sign, because there are people coming for us, people who want to hurt me by hurting you, people who see you as my weakness, my vulnerability, the one thing they can use to bring me to my knees, and they're not wrong. You are my weakness, my greatest strength, and my ultimate downfall, all wrapped up in one perfect package, and I would rather die than let them conversations, why there are bags packed and money hidden in safe. Houses arranged while this might be the last normal night we ever have together. The photograph in my safe. It's not just a reminder of when I chose love over violence. It's evidence of a crime scene I cleaned up to protect you. And if it ever falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy both of us, which is why I need to know right now, are you here with me? Are you ready to run away from everything we've built together? Are you prepared to spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, but doing it by my side because I love you enough to let you go if that's what you want? I love you enough to disappear from your life forever and let you go back to being safe and normal and blissfully unaware of the darkness that surrounds us. But I also love you too much to let anyone else hurt you, which means if you stay, if you choose me, you choose all of me, including the parts that are stained with blood. So what's it going to be, sweetheart? Are you here with me in this moment, understanding everything? I've confessed everything. I've risked everything I've sacrificed for love. Are you ready to leave this life behind and start a new one where it's just you and me against the world, where every day is borrowed time and every night is a gift because we're still alive, still together, still fighting against a world that wants to tear us apart? Leave me a sign, baby. You know how to do it. Let me know you're choosing this chaos, this danger, this love that's worth dying for, because in about 10 minutes you need to be gone, and I need to know if I'm running toward the future with you or if I'm running away to keep you safe from the monster you fell in love